Have you ever wondered why some elderly people are cherished and respected, while others are quietly avoided or even resented? Aging is inevitable, but how we choose to age can make all the difference in how we're perceived and treated by others. In today's video, we're diving deep into behaviors that not only push people away, but also rob us of the respect and admiration we deserve as we get older. You might be surprised by how common mistakes like monopolizing conversations, holding on to prejudices, or even boasting about past achievements can create barriers with loved ones and strangers alike. But here's the good news. By making a few simple shifts in how we carry ourselves, we can transform aging into a beautiful, respected journey. Stay with us until the end, where we'll share practical wisdom and powerful tips for embracing humility, maintaining dignity, and ensuring that you remain a shining presence in your community, no matter your age. This is about more than just growing older. It's about growing wiser, kinder, and more admired as the years go by. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me. And if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. As we age, one of the most important behaviors to be mindful of is the tendency to monopolize conversations. There was a time when living past 60 was a rare feat in those days. Elders were revered. They were the keepers of wisdom, the guides of families and communities. Their stories were cherished, their words carried weight, and people naturally sought their counsel. The mere fact of aging was, in itself, something that earned respect. But times have changed, and while we are blessed to live longer than ever before, this increased lifespan comes with a shift in the dynamics of how age is perceived. The unfortunate truth is that simply getting older no longer guarantees the automatic respect it once did. Instead, respect must be earned through actions, through humility, and through how we choose to engage with others. The very same qualities that once garnered admiration, such as assertiveness and vocal presence, can now sometimes alienate people, especially when paired with the natural effects of aging, like hearing loss or a louder voice. It's a painful reality for many of us to realize that what we once relied on to connect with others can now create distance. Have you ever found yourself in a public space, perhaps on a crowded train, in a cozy restaurant, or even sitting quietly on a park bench, only to be jolted out of your thoughts by the sound of an elderly person speaking loudly, almost as if unaware of their surroundings? It's not uncommon, is it? You might have noticed the subtle yet unmistakable glances exchanged between younger people nearby. Glances filled with frustration, discomfort, and sometimes even annoyance. The elderly person, often unaware, continues to dominate the space with their voice, perhaps assuming that they're simply engaging in conversation, while the world around them quietly tunes out. And that's the saddest part. What should be a moment of connection turns into a moment of isolation. As we grow older, our bodies inevitably change, and that includes our hearing. It's perfectly natural for someone experiencing hearing loss to raise their voice without realizing it. But while this change is unintentional, it can still come across as inconsiderate to those around us. And this is where self-awareness becomes so essential. If we're not careful, we might unintentionally push people away when we long for connection. That's why it's so important to learn the delicate art of listening. Rather than asserting our presence through volume, we can create deeper, more meaningful connections by offering our ears. In those moments of quiet, where we allow others to share their stories, we show a kind of respect and wisdom that transcends words. It's not about making ourselves heard. It's about making others feel heard. And isn't that, in the end, what we all want? To be understood, to feel valued? Imagine for a moment someone speaking loudly on their phone in a public place, perhaps a cafe or a train, talking as if they were alone at home, completely unaware of the discomfort they're causing to those around them. Now picture that person being an elder. For younger people, it's easy to misinterpret this behavior as a sign of selfishness or a lack of consideration, especially when it comes from someone older who they assume should know better. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. And isn't that tragic? Because, in reality, most elderly individuals don't mean to cause harm. They simply may not realize the impact of their actions. But the sad truth is, after a lifetime of experiences and wisdom, what we leave behind could be overshadowed by something as simple as speaking too loudly or dominating conversations. It's heart-wrenching to think that the respect we've worked so hard to earn might slip away because of something that could be easily remedied with a bit of self-regulation. The key to being respected as we age doesn't lie in how much we speak, but in how well we listen. There's an old saying, "Close your mouth and open your wallet." And while the surface meaning of this phrase seems to suggest financial generosity, the deeper wisdom behind it is far more profound. It's about giving of ourselves, our time, our attention, our empathy, rather than forcing our opinions or asserting our dominance in conversations. When we practice this kind of quiet generosity, we become the kind of elders that people naturally gravitate toward, not because of the volume of our words, but because of the depth of our understanding. The older we get, the more weight our words carry. This is one of the gifts of aging. People recognize that our experiences have given us insights that younger generations might not yet possess. But with this gift comes responsibility. How we choose to share our wisdom makes all the difference. Speaking with humility in a gentle tone shows not only that we respect others, but that we respect ourselves enough not to force our views upon them. True wisdom is not about speaking the most. It's about knowing when to speak and when to listen. It's about understanding that not every thought or opinion needs to be shared. Sometimes, the most powerful thing we can do is hold our tongue and let others have the floor. This is what it means to show mature perseverance. To know that our value is not diminished by silence, but rather, it is often enhanced by it. It's curious, isn't it, how we can grow more stubborn as we age. In Korea, there's a saying that the older you get, the more you become like a chilpsu, a stubborn elder who insists on their way, refusing to listen to others. This kind of stubbornness can be so damaging, not just to the relationships we hold dear, but to the respect we hope to earn. And yet, it's easy to fall into this trap. After all, when you've lived long enough to see the world change around you, it's natural to feel that your way of thinking, your values, and your experiences are right. But true wisdom doesn't come from being right. It comes from being open, from recognizing that there is always more to learn, more to understand, and that others have valuable insights too. When we stubbornly cling to our beliefs, refusing to consider other perspectives, we lose that flexibility of spirit that is so vital to remaining wise and compassionate as we age. So, how can we maintain our dignity and grace as we grow older? In Japan, there's a beautiful saying, 3 years on a stone. It suggests that simply sitting on a stone won't achieve anything. Over time, it will just gather moss. But if you polish the stone, it will shine brightly. This is such a perfect metaphor for aging. Merely getting older doesn't make us wise. We have to continue polishing ourselves and refining our inner selves if we want to maintain our dignity and shine in the eyes of others. A gemstone doesn't lose its brilliance with age. If cared for, it becomes even more valuable. And we, too, must take care of ourselves, nurturing our minds, hearts, and spirits so that we continue to inspire those around us, regardless of how many years we've lived. The most beautiful elders I've known are those who have weathered life's storms with grace. They've faced hardships and suffered losses, and yet they've come out the other side not hardened but softened. These are the elders who don't need to shout their wisdom from the rooftops. Their mere presence speaks volumes. They've learned that aging isn't just about physical changes. It's a journey of the soul, and like a tree that continues to bloom even in its later years, they inspire those around them simply by being who they are. They understand that aging is not a burden but a blessing, a chance to live with purpose and show the world that true beauty comes from within. What we must strive for as we age is not to impose our opinions on others or to vent our frustrations at the world. Instead, we should focus on refining ourselves, on nurturing our inner beauty, and on showing the world that growing older is not something to be feared but something to be embraced. In doing so, we transform aging from a burden into a beautiful expression of the soul's journey. And in this way, we leave behind a legacy not of loud voices or stubborn opinions, but of grace, wisdom, and love. Ask yourself, will behaving with dignity lead you to become a respected and cherished presence in the lives of those around you? Or will stubbornness and selfishness cause you to be seen as troublesome, avoided, and even resented? In life, we truly only have one choice: to be a light that shines brightly in the hearts of others, or to create distance between ourselves and those who could have cherished our wisdom and companionship. The path to being a truly respected elder, someone loved and appreciated by all, requires conscious effort, self-awareness, and an open heart. This is not a distant or unattainable goal. It is something every one of us can achieve with humility and grace. Now, let's dive into another pitfall that many of us face as we grow older: holding on to prejudices and stereotypes and labeling others based on only a few interactions. It's a subtle but dangerous habit, one that creeps in as we age. Not only do our bodies lose flexibility, but our minds often do, too. We can become rigid in our thinking and unwilling to accept new ideas or perspectives. Have you ever heard the saying that there are two dogs inside our hearts? One named prejudice, the other suspicion? These two dogs act as overzealous gatekeepers, barking at any new thoughts and rejecting new opinions before they even have a chance to be considered. They fiercely protect our old beliefs and prevent us from growing or evolving. It's a sad irony that after a lifetime of experience, we might fall victim to the very limitations we sought to overcome. But there's hope, because there is a third dog, a special one named Ichikin Shikazu, which roughly translates to not taking things at face value. Why should we nurture this dog above all others? Because this dog is the key to wisdom, to keeping our minds open and our hearts free of judgment. Ichikin Shikazu doesn't mean accepting everything blindly, but rather experiencing, observing, and understanding ourselves before passing judgment. It asks us to remain open, to observe deeply, and to give new ideas the chance to reveal their true essence. When we embrace this mindset, we are not only protecting ourselves from the harm of prejudice, but we are also growing into fairer, more trustworthy individuals. People whom others feel safe with, knowing we will not judge them unfairly or too quickly. Let me ask you, what kind of person is most disliked? An old Chinese sage once posed this question to his disciples. The first answered, "Someone who is always complaining and grumbling." The second said, "Someone arrogant who thinks only of themselves." The third thought for a while and responded, "Someone who holds prejudices against others and isn't even aware of it." The sage smiled and said, "All are correct, but the most disliked person is someone who refuses to change and has become stubborn." This story holds a powerful truth. Holding on to prejudices and suspicions traps us in a narrow mindset. It not only hurts others, but it creates an invisible prison for ourselves, locking us away from true connection. Stubbornly clinging to our judgments can make it nearly impossible to grow or to genuinely connect with those around us. We shut people out without realizing that we are also shutting ourselves off from the beauty of new experiences, new relationships, and new insights. Consider the anchoring effect, a psychological phenomenon where the first information we receive about someone heavily influences our perception of them. Once we've formed a first impression, it's incredibly hard to shift our mindset, even when presented with new evidence. Think about it. How often have you made a snap judgment about someone within just a few minutes of meeting them? Maybe you labeled them as rude, unfriendly, or aloof based on nothing more than a brief interaction. But ask yourself, how would you feel if others did the same to you? Wouldn't you want people to take the time to see the real you, the person behind that initial impression? This is why the practice of Ikkaiken Shikazu is so vital. It encourages us to take the time to truly understand others, to see beyond those first encounters, and to form deeper, more nuanced judgments. We must strive to eliminate prejudices and suspicions, not only for the sake of others, but for our growth. True understanding and empathy aren't built in a moment. They are nurtured over time through observation, experience, and an open heart. Imagine the richness of relationships built on trust, where you see the other person for who they truly are, not who you hastily assume them to be. That depth of connection is something we all long for, especially as we grow older. Jean-Paul Sartre, the renowned French philosopher, once said, "Hell is not a distant place, but lies in the hearts of those who are filled with others' prejudices." What a powerful statement. Sartre's words remind us that the greatest suffering doesn't come from external forces, but from within. When we allow prejudices to fester in our hearts, we close ourselves off from others. We create our hell, a place where connection, empathy, and understanding are all but impossible. Rash judgments rob us of the chance to truly know others and to be known ourselves. They close our hearts and minds, and in doing so, they isolate us. And isolation, as we all know, is one of the most painful experiences we can endure, especially in our later years. So how do we avoid this trap? The first step is self-reflection. Ask yourself, am I truly taking the time to understand the people I encounter? Am I listening with an open heart? Or am I letting those two dogs, prejudice and suspicion, bark loudly in my mind? These questions are not easy to answer, but they are essential. The prejudices and suspicions we hold toward others act as chains that bind us. They weaken our ability to empathize, feel compassion, and build sincere, meaningful relationships. The longer we hold on to them, the heavier those chains become, weighing down our hearts and keeping us from experiencing the joy of connection. In the end, we all have a choice. Will we continue to hold on to our old judgments, allowing them to dictate our interactions with others? Or will we choose the path of openness, empathy, and understanding? The answer lies within each of us. By nurturing the mindset of Ichiken Shikazu, we not only free ourselves from the prison of prejudice, but we open the door to a life filled with richer, more meaningful connections. Let us choose to see others with open eyes and open hearts, giving them the space to reveal who they truly are. Only then can we grow into the kind of people who are not only respected, but deeply loved for our wisdom, kindness, and grace. However, there is a way to break these chains of prejudice and suspicion. See others in the same way you would want them to see you. Ralph Waldo Emerson, the American philosopher, once said, "When meeting someone, we should recognize them as a sacred being without being bound by their titles or past." There's such profound wisdom in that statement because it reminds us that each person, no matter who they are, carries a special story, a unique life journey filled with challenges, victories, and lessons. Every individual has inherent value, even if we can't always see it on the surface. To truly connect with others, we must cultivate a heart that understands, respects, and seeks out that value. When we allow ourselves to be trapped in prejudice, we place blinders over our own eyes, preventing us from witnessing the real beauty that exists in others. By approaching people with curiosity and genuine interest, rather than suspicion or judgment, we open ourselves to the possibility of discovering the greatness that lies within them. So ask yourself, which dog will you nurture? Will you continue feeding prejudice and suspicion, letting them bark at every new idea or unfamiliar person that comes into your life? Or will you choose to nurture Ichiken Shikazu, the dog that teaches us not to judge too quickly, but to take time, observe, and understand? This ancient teaching of Ichiken Shikazu is a guiding light, helping us walk the path of wisdom and kindness. By following this path, we become considered and respected elders, individuals whose age brings not just experience, but also deep empathy and generosity of spirit. And it's this wisdom, paired with compassion, that makes us truly respected, not just for our years, but for the way we treat others. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Next, let's talk about another common pitfall we must be wary of as we age: excessive bragging and pride. When we're younger, expressing our accomplishments, talking about our successes, and even a little boasting can feel like a source of pride. It can help define our identity and make us feel recognized. But as we grow older, continuing to engage in excessive self-promotion often starts to have the opposite effect. It can come across as self-centered and even alienating to those around us. And the truth is, people tend to grow uncomfortable around those who frequently boast, especially when it's done repetitively. One common scenario is when older individuals continually talk about past glories, their career accomplishments, their children's successes, or the wealth they've accumulated. It's not that these achievements aren't important. Of course they are, but when these topics dominate the conversation, they can quickly become tiresome to listeners, especially if those listeners are dealing with their challenges or insecurities. Sadly, this can even lead to the elder becoming the subject of gossip or, worse, someone to be avoided altogether. There's an old proverb that advises against boasting about 3 things: a beautiful wife, excellent children, and wealth. At first glance, this might seem like a simple, almost outdated lesson, but it's rooted in deep human psychology. These are sensitive topics that often evoke feelings of jealousy, resentment, or inadequacy in others. For instance, when you boast about your children's achievements, the person listening may be quietly struggling with worries about their child. Perhaps a child who is facing difficulties in school, work, or relationships. What seems like harmless sharing of your happiness might be a painful reminder to someone else of what they lack or fear. Without realizing it, your words, meant to bring you pride, can become a source of discomfort or even heartache to those around you. But why do we feel the need to boast in the first place? You've probably heard the phrase, "empty barrels make the most noise." This idea suggests that people who feel a sense of lack within themselves often feel compelled to overcompensate through boasting or showing off. In psychology, this is known as the compensation effect for inferiority. People who constantly seek external validation, whether by bragging about their possessions, children, or achievements, are often grappling with deep-seated insecurities. Boasting becomes a mask they wear to hide their perceived flaws or shortcomings, something they hope others won't notice. I find great wisdom in a saying by the Greek philosopher Socrates: the less knowledgeable a person is, the more they talk. The more knowledgeable a person is, the more they remain silent. This quote captures a universal truth. Those who are truly accomplished, who possess genuine wisdom, or who have achieved great things, do not feel the need to announce it to the world. Their value is evident in their actions, in the way they carry themselves, and in how they treat others. Like a beautiful gemstone, a person of true worth doesn't need to be polished for their brilliance to be seen. Even buried in the ground, a gemstone still retains its natural shine. Similarly, those who possess inner strength, wisdom, and accomplishment do not need to boast or seek validation. Their presence alone is enough. As we age, it's important to remember this. True dignity and respect are not earned through bragging or reminding others of our past successes. They are earned through humility, by allowing our actions to speak louder than our words, and by being a source of support and kindness to those around us. Let us strive to become like the silent gemstone, radiating our worth quietly and confidently, without needing to shout about it. When we do this, we not only gain the respect of others, but we also nurture a deep sense of peace within ourselves, a peace that comes from knowing that our worth does not depend on external recognition, but on the strength of our character. In the end, the choice is ours. Will we continue to boast, feeding our insecurities and potentially alienating those around us? Or will we choose to embrace humility, allowing our wisdom and kindness to shine through naturally? By choosing the latter, we walk the path of a respected elder, one whose age brings not just the weight of experience, but the grace of understanding. And in doing so, we ensure that our later years are filled with meaningful connections, quiet dignity, and lasting respect from those who matter most. In Japan, there is a profound philosophical teaching that is beautifully embodied by bamboo. No matter how tall it grows or how fierce the winds blow, bamboo never breaks. It maintains its strength by gracefully bending with the wind, allowing it to pass. This simple yet profound lesson offers valuable wisdom, especially as we grow older. As we age, we should strive to live like bamboo, not standing rigid in pride or clinging to our past achievements, but embracing humility and flexibility. Humility doesn't mean we see ourselves as lesser. Rather, it's about recognizing our value without being boastful or overly attached to it. By living quietly yet resiliently, we create an unbreakable spirit, much like bamboo, and earn the respect of those around us. Imagine living with a heart as flexible and unyielding as bamboo. A heart that bends, not breaks, under pressure. Isn't that a beautiful way to live? True strength isn't found in resisting the winds of change, but in being able to adapt, yield when necessary, and stand tall again once the storm has passed. In the later stages of life, we can become pillars of wisdom, not through forceful declarations, but through quiet strength and humility. And as we walk through life with the Spirit, we naturally inspire respect, not because we demand it, but because it is freely given by those who admire our grace and resilience. Did you know that humility is truly the key to a beautiful retirement? In Western societies, elderly people are not necessarily revered for their past accomplishments or the titles they may have once held. Instead, they are loved for their compassionate hearts and their willingness to help others. The kindness they offer, and the wisdom shared through their actions rather than words, create a deep connection with those around them. On the other hand, in some Eastern societies, there's often an expectation that age alone is a reason to command respect. While this may have been true in the past, today's world is different. Respect cannot simply be assumed because of one's age. It is earned by how one carries themselves and the attitudes they project. This is where the true power of humility comes in. It bridges a generational gap, offering a golden key to not just earning respect, but truly capturing the hearts of those around us. Humility allows us to stay relevant and to remain connected with younger generations. It shows that while we may have years of experience, we still value learning from others and are open to new perspectives. And it applies to everyone we encounter, not just the young, but our peers, our families, and our communities. It's not enough to expect respect based on our years. We must show that we, too, respect others. We often think of wealth in terms of material possessions, but true richness lies in the heart. People who are truly rich are those who possess a broad heart, who think of others, and who give without expecting anything in return. These individuals don't need to flaunt their wealth or their accomplishments. Their generosity and kindness shine so brightly that people remember them, not for the words they spoke, but for the things they did, the time they gave, and the love they shared. Their presence is like a shining gemstone, offering light and warmth to those around them. They don't need to demand attention. Their actions speak for them. As we age, we should all ask ourselves, will we become like that gemstone, radiating quiet beauty and wisdom, or will we become like an empty barrel, making noise but offering little substance? The choice is ours to make. By following the teaching of Ichiken Shikazu, the philosophy of not rushing to judgment and taking the time to deeply understand others, we can walk the path of a thoughtful, considerate elder. In doing so, we transform aging from a burden into an opportunity, a time in life to express the true beauty of our souls through wisdom, kindness, and generosity. Now, let's consider a troubling reality. Some people take their age or their status as a reason to believe they are automatically deserving of respect. This is the fourth pitfall we must avoid. The world is changing rapidly, and with it, society's views on aging and the elderly have also evolved. In the past, elders were revered as symbols of wisdom and respected as the keepers of important lessons passed down through generations. Families and communities relied on them to share stories, traditions, and guidance. But in today's society, many older individuals are unfortunately seen not as wise transmitters of knowledge, but as stubborn or out of touch. This shift in perception has led to a troubling new trend. There are now places where the elderly are actively excluded, much like how children were once banned from certain spaces. It's heartbreaking to realize that we are living in an era where the elderly are sometimes avoided. This doesn't just reflect a lack of understanding about the natural process of aging. It also highlights the widening generational gap. Younger people may feel disconnected from the elderly, seeing them as difficult or resistant to change, while older generations might feel that their wisdom is undervalued or dismissed. This situation leads to a cycle of misunderstanding and distance between generations. What's clear is that respect in this changing world can no longer be assumed. It must be earned, regardless of age, through humility, understanding, and the ability to adapt. As elders, it is our responsibility to recognize that society has changed and we must change with it. We cannot cling to the idea that respect will automatically come just because we've lived many years. Instead, we must show through our actions that we are worthy of that respect. By being flexible like bamboo, by practicing humility, and by nurturing relationships with kindness and understanding. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. As we navigate these changes, let's ask ourselves, will we stubbornly hold on to old beliefs and demand respect simply because of our age? Or will we embrace the lessons of bamboo and Ichiken Shikazu, allowing our hearts to remain flexible and open? Let's choose to be elders who inspire, who bridge the gap between generations, and who live in a way that makes us not just respected, but deeply loved by those around us. This is the true essence of aging with grace. One of the biggest challenges many elderly people face is a confusion that arises when their roles in life begin to shift. In their younger years, they often held positions of influence, making key decisions as leaders in their families, communities, and even workplaces. They were the pillars others leaned on. But as time goes on, these roles are gradually passed to the next generation, and younger people become the main actors on life stage. For many elders, this change can be disorienting, leading to a profound sense of loss, loneliness, and even a feeling of invisibility. It's like standing in the shadows, watching life move forward without knowing exactly where it fits anymore. Young people are always in a state of growth, constantly learning, exploring new ideas, and adapting to a changing world. In contrast, elderly people, having already accumulated so much knowledge and experience, often feel the urge to teach. This creates a natural gap between generations, a gap that, if left unaddressed, can turn into subtle conflicts. Over time, these unspoken tensions may harden into deeper divides. For example, elderly individuals may try to assert their presence in family gatherings by sitting in prominent seats and frequently sharing stories of past accomplishments. Though these stories are valuable, younger people can sometimes feel burdened by the weight of these past experiences, which can seem distant and disconnected from their own lives. Imagine an elderly person entering a room with an angry or stern expression, insisting that everyone stop and listen simply because they are older and know better. How would that make the younger generation feel? Most likely, it would create discomfort, and instead of engaging, people would gradually pull away, their interest waning. Despite all the wisdom this elder has gained throughout their life, such moments can leave them feeling isolated, misunderstood, and excluded. The very experiences that should bring connection instead become barriers, and the metals of age and experience, which could be a source of pride, turn into burdens if they are wielded too rigidly. But what if that same elderly person entered the room with a gentle smile, radiating calm and humility? What if they quietly sat down, listened attentively to others, and shared their thoughts only when asked? The atmosphere would shift immediately, becoming warmer and more open. Conversations would flow naturally, and both young and old would feel more connected. This is the key difference between being seen as a beloved elder versus a stubborn one. The elder who remains patient, who listens before speaking, and who shows respect to others will, in turn, earn genuine respect. Sometimes, the greatest wisdom lies in enduring a little, in letting go of the need to always be heard, and instead allowing others to share their perspectives. Respect is never automatic. It must be earned through humility, generosity, and self-discipline. When you create a calm and welcoming space around you, respect will follow naturally. One of the teachings I hold dear is that a truly great person is not someone who looks down from a position of power, but someone who offers themselves as a strong foundation for others to lean on. Being a supportive, reliable presence is what truly earns respect, regardless of age or past accomplishments. When we practice humility and compassion, we naturally become a spiritual support for those around us. This support doesn't come from being the loudest voice in the room or demanding attention. It comes from quiet strength, from the ability to lift others without seeking praise or recognition. True respect is not gained simply through age or status. It is something that others willingly offer when they recognize a kind and open heart. So how can we as elders gain genuine respect without relying on our age or previous roles? The answer lies in active thinking, humility, and developing a broad, generous heart. First and foremost, we must focus on giving rather than demanding. Many elderly people fall into the trap of expecting respect simply because they have lived longer or achieved more. However, respect is not something that can be taken or assumed. It is something that must be earned through kindness, humility, and generosity. When we help others without seeking anything in return, when we share our wisdom without the need for validation, respect will come naturally. It's about letting go of the entitlement to respect and instead focusing on how we can contribute positively to the lives of those around us. One common mistake many elderly people make is a desire to constantly teach. While there is immense value in sharing life lessons, what's even more important is to first listen. To truly understand and respect others' thoughts and experiences, we must become skilled listeners. Instead of imposing our opinions or recounting our past achievements, we should ask, "What do you think?" And then make a sincere effort to accept the other person's views with an open mind. This approach not only fosters mutual respect, but also creates a more meaningful connection with others. We should not fear losing authority by doing this. In today's world, where knowledge is rapidly evolving and adaptability is key, authority no longer rests on age alone. In modern society, respect and influence are earned through wisdom, empathy, and flexible thinking. It is far more valuable to inspire and encourage others through your actions than to assert authority through force or status. True authority comes not from commanding others, but from the ability to lead by example, to guide with kindness, and to inspire trust. People naturally gravitate towards those who make them feel seen, heard, and understood. In the end, it's not about clinging to the roles we once held or the accomplishments we once achieved. It's about how we carry ourselves in the present, how we treat others, how we listen, and how we offer our wisdom with humility. When we approach life with a broad heart, always thinking of how we can give rather than receive, we become a source of light for those around us. And in that light, we find true respect, true connection, and true fulfillment. Finally, it's important to remember that those who act with discretion and good judgment are the ones who earn lasting respect. Stubbornness and the need to impose your will on others will only create friction and make you seem like a burdensome presence. Retirement is not about demanding recognition or forcing others to give you praise. Instead, it should be a time of peace, a chapter where you can give unconditionally to those around you, influencing them positively through your actions rather than your words. Aging is a natural, unavoidable reality, but retirement can be seen as a new beginning, an opportunity to live with dignity and grace, rather than as a mere closing chapter. Think of it this way. Retirement is an opportunity to embrace new forms of self-expression and self-discovery. It's not a time to cling to the past or to seek validation through old achievements. Instead, it's about focusing on how you can continue to live proudly, not by the things you demand from others, but by the respect you earn through your humility, kindness, and wisdom. An example that often gets overlooked is how we present ourselves to the world. Our physical appearance. Some people, as they grow older, tend to neglect their appearance, thinking that it doesn't matter anymore. They may believe that as long as their inner self is strong, their outer appearance is irrelevant. However, this is a big misconception. The way you present yourself is, in many ways, a reflection of your inner state of mind. It communicates to the world not just how you feel about yourself, but also how you approach life. Imagine reuniting with old friends, people who have taken care of their health and appearance, still looking vibrant and full of life. Now, picture yourself in the same scenario, but looking disheveled with poor posture, tired skin, and unkempt hair. How would that make you feel? Likely, there would be feelings of regret or disappointment. Even if you don't want to admit it, you might feel as though time has beaten you, while others seem to be fighting to stay lively and engaged. While appearance is not everything, It plays a crucial role in how we interact with the world and how we feel about ourselves. Neglecting our appearance sends a signal to our brain that we are no longer invested in ourselves, and this can lead to mental decline and a loss of vitality. Scientific studies have shown that people who maintain their appearance and look younger than their chronological age tend to have better cognitive function and experience slower physical decline. Taking care of your appearance isn't about vanity. It's about signaling to yourself and others that you still care, that you still have energy, and that you are still engaged in life. When you pay attention to your grooming, whether it's through dressing well, keeping your skin healthy, or experimenting with new hairstyles, you send a message to your brain that life is still vibrant and full of possibilities. Self-care is about much more than physical appearance. It's about the emotional and psychological impact it has on us. When you take time to care for your appearance, you are boosting your confidence, which in turn helps you manage your emotions more effectively. It also prevents the kind of physical decline that often comes from feeling disengaged. Elderly people who care about their appearance send a powerful message. They are still energetic, still vibrant, and still worthy of respect. It's not about following the latest fashion trends or wearing expensive clothes. It's about the simple, subtle things: clean, neat clothing, well-maintained shoes, and well-groomed hair. These little efforts show that you respect yourself, and in turn, others will be more likely to respect you as well. Have you ever thought about the first thing people notice about you? It's not your wisdom, experience, or intelligence. It's your appearance. First impressions matter, no matter how much we may wish they didn't. In any relationship, whether personal or professional, the way you present yourself plays a significant role in how people perceive you. Someone who dresses neatly and appears well-groomed will naturally command more trust and respect than someone who appears careless or unkempt, regardless of how much knowledge or experience they may have. Your appearance is an essential tool for building trust with others. It's a reflection of how much you care, not just about yourself, but about the people you're interacting with. When you make an effort with your appearance, it shows that you value the interactions and relationships you are a part of. This simple act of self-care can open doors to more meaningful connections, ensuring that your wisdom and experience are seen in the best possible light. Aging does not mean you can afford to neglect your body. Quite the opposite. Your body, which has weathered the storms of your life, deserves more care now than ever before. Think of it as a vessel that has traveled with you through all of life's challenges and triumphs. While it may no longer have the shine and vigor of youth, with the right attention and maintenance, it remains a comfortable and proud place to inhabit. Your body, no matter its age, has been your constant companion, and it's essential to treat it with the respect and care it deserves. Walk more, eat a balanced diet, and exercise regularly to prevent unnecessary illnesses. These simple habits not only help maintain physical health, but also contribute to a sense of vitality and well-being. Your body is a precious gift, one that you only have once in your life. Unlike material possessions, it cannot be exchanged for a newer model or replaced when worn out. Every effort you make to treat it well is an investment in your overall happiness and peace of mind. When you care for your body, you create a foundation that supports an optimistic spirit, which in turn shields your mental and emotional health. Physical wellness and mental clarity are deeply intertwined, and caring for one nurtures the other. By staying mindful of how you treat your body, you protect your ability to enjoy life fully, no matter your age. So, the question becomes, how will you choose to age? Will you let time weigh you down, or will you actively shape your later years into something vibrant and meaningful? Don't become the stubborn, unapproachable elderly person that people avoid out of discomfort. Instead, strive to be the kind of senior who radiates energy and attracts others with your warmth and vitality. Age is just a number. It's not the number of years that makes you feel old, but the state of your mind and body. Keeping both your mind and body fresh is the only true way to defy the passage of time. It's not about denying the reality of aging. It's about embracing it with grace and resilience. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment below to let me know that you are still here with me. Though we cannot avoid the process of aging, how we age is entirely up to us. It is within our power to decide whether we age gracefully or with resistance. Viewed in the right light, aging is not something to fear, but rather an exciting and rewarding stage of life. It's a time when we can draw on our years of wisdom, and also a crossroads, a choice point, where we decide whether we'll become a source of inspiration for the younger generation or a figure who is avoided because of stereotypes or bitterness. Retirement can be a golden chapter of life, filled with joy, discovery, and connection, or it can become a period of decline, where negative attitudes and fixed ideas take over. How we choose to act, think, and perceive the world as we age profoundly impacts not only our self-image, but also the way others see and relate to us. In a way, aging allows us to reflect on how we want to continue growing, even in our later years. Mark Twain once said, "Age is merely the skin we wear. Abandoning desire is the true soul." This resonates deeply with me because it reminds us that what matters most is not the physical marks of aging, but the inner qualities we cultivate. If we want to enjoy a beautiful, fulfilling retirement, it is essential to keep renewing ourselves, to stay open to change and maintain a broad heart. By embracing new experiences, remaining curious, and continually polishing our character, we ensure that retirement is not just an end, but a continuation of the journey. It becomes a time filled with wisdom, love, and the opportunity to make a positive impact on those around us. In this way, retirement is not simply a point of attachment or a resting place. It is a time to shine even brighter, to reflect the beauty of a life well lived, and to carry forward the grace, compassion, and strength we've developed. Aging, when embraced thoughtfully, becomes a celebration of the soul's journey, a journey that continues to evolve, to grow, and to inspire others. As we wrap up, let's take a moment to reflect on everything we've discussed about aging, self-care, and maintaining a vibrant spirit throughout retirement. Aging is a natural part of life, but how we choose to age is entirely in our hands. From caring for our bodies to nurturing our hearts and minds, every decision we make shapes the quality of our later years. Whether it's adopting a mindset of humility, staying open to change, or embracing self-care, each step brings us closer to a fulfilling and graceful aging process. Now, we'd love to hear from you. What have you learned from today's discussion? Comment below with one key takeaway you'll bring into your life moving forward. How will you use this wisdom to stay vibrant, youthful, and full of purpose as you age? We'd love to hear your thoughts and insights. If you enjoyed this video, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more inspiring content. Thank you for watching.